Yo, what's going on, guys? Billy Cool here, and today I'm going to be talking about a big problem I have with modern comics. That problem is that comic books are too expensive. Let me explain to you all why this is a problem and how it is hurting the industry. See, just a couple of decades ago, back in the 80s, your average Marvel and DC comic would most likely cost from as low as 50 cents to as high as 80 cents. Today, a less expensive comic is normally $3, and some can even be as expensive as $5. Taking inflation into account, a 60-cent comic back in 1980 would cost around $1.89 in today's money. That, in my opinion, is one of the many reasons why single-issue comics are not selling as great as they used to be. See, back in the early days of comics, the medium was mainly geared towards kids, and kids loved reading comic books, and since the audience for both Marvel and DC was made up of mostly kids, then the company sold comics that was affordable to kids to buy with their allowances. Long ago, you could go to convenience stores and even grocery stores and find comics. Today, outside of comic book shops and bookstores, it is almost impossible to find a place that sells them anymore. The problem with comic books today is that they have moved on from being a common and cheap reading item for kids to becoming a specialty item. Now, what I mean by specialty item is that rather than making them very accessible for kids, they have instead focused more on their hardcore and adult fan base. Your average Marvel and DC comic book is more violent and mature than the comic books of the past. Another reason for the rise in cost is the changing in the paper used for the comic and the introduction of new techniques in the making of the books. Regardless of the reason, the steep hike in prices with comics has made single issues very expensive, and even for an issue that costs $3, you will only be able to buy 3 comics for around $10. This is way too expensive and is hurting the industry by making it a costly hobby. Single-issue comics, in my opinion, should be inexpensive and easy to collect with your spare money, and not something you have to save up for. The collected editions of stories is a better choice when it comes to making something cost money instead of overpricing the single issues. An example of a better model for selling a similar medium is the manga industry. The most single issues of manga are sold in volumes that cost on average around $9 to $10. These manga books are over 100 page long, and for example, Naruto's first volume has a length of 192 pages. And so for the price of a book, you get a manga with a similar amount of pages to a novel, while with American comics you pay that much for just 3 issues. You will get far more reading material by investing $9 into a manga volume than you would purchasing 3 single issues. Because of these reasons, I think that comic books need to go back to their more inexpensive days and make it easier to buy. It probably won't happen, but we can only hope that prices become more reasonable in the future and the sales rise because of it. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. If you like what you saw, then hit the like button and subscribe. Billy Cool out.
Man, you cannot marry a woman without gills. You're from 2 different worlds. Oh, I've wasted my life.